The email arrived at 6:12 a.m., and before I even clicked it, my stomach dropped because my sister Ava never texted me this early unless something was wrong. Or unless she wanted something. But today was supposed to be my day. After years of working late nights, leading impossible projects, surviving a downsizing era, and mentoring half the department, today was the day the company would officially announce the Senior Operations Manager promotion. A position I had been promised in every unofficial conversation. A position I had earned. I opened the email. Please be informed that the Senior Operations Manager role has been assigned to Ms. Ava Langford, effective immediately. The world tilted. Ava? My sister. My younger sister, who joined the company 8 months ago. My sister, who had no background in operations before I personally helped her secure an entry-level role. My sister, who still asked me basic questions like the difference between a vendor report and a performance audit. It had to be a mistake. I reread it 5 times. Then 10. The words stayed the same. As the shock thickened in my chest, my phone buzzed. Ava, let's talk before work. Come to Mom's place. The nerve. She knew. She had to know. Fury, disbelief, heartbreak, everything knotted under my ribs as I drove to my mother's house. Rain hit my windshield with a violence that felt personal. My hands kept tightening around the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. How could this happen? How could she get my promotion? The promotion that had been discussed with me for 2 years. The promotion for which I had completed leadership training, spearheaded the cost reduction initiative, and delivered quarterly KPIs that had literally kept the branch from shutting down. I walked into the kitchen and found Ava seated at the table, tapping her nail against a coffee mug. She looked nervous, but not nervous enough. Before you yell, she said, let me explain.
No.
Start with this. Why is my job title on you? Ava bit her lip. I applied for it. My heart slammed. Applied? You didn't even tell me it was open. That's because you weren't supposed to know. They weren't considering internal candidates your level. It was meant for external applicants only. I found out accidentally. So you stole it behind my back. I didn't steal anything, she snapped. I just took the opportunity first. The betrayal burned deeper than the shock. I trained you. I helped you write your resume. And you went behind me for my job. You already have everything, she said quietly. Everyone praises you. You're perfect at work. Perfect daughter. Perfect everything. For once, I wanted something too. A twisted justification. A selfish one. But still not enough to explain how the company chose her. How did you even pass the interviews? I asked. Ava looked away. My stomach turned. What did you do, Ava? She swallowed hard. I used your portfolio. Your reports. Your strategy documents. I may have said I contributed more than I did. Silence exploded. She had passed her interviews using my work. And the worst part? The company believed her. I felt something inside me fracture. This wasn't just betrayal. This was war. The worst part wasn't hearing Ava admit she used my work. The worst part was realizing she didn't even look ashamed. Her eyes flicked upward only once, just long enough to see if I would explode, then drifted away again, like she was bored of the conversation. You stole my entire portfolio, I said, my voice tight enough to snap. Do you understand how serious that is? Ava folded her arms. Stop being dramatic. I didn't steal anything. I just repurposed the work we did together. We didn't do it together. I did it. Every report. Every metric. Every strategy. I stepped closer. That is my intellectual property. Well, it's too late now, she muttered. HR already announced it. My photo is on the official board. My introduction letter is drafted. I'm starting Monday. Every word felt like a slap. You knew this would hurt me, I said. You did it anyway. Ava's jaw clenched. Do you want the truth? Really? I nodded. You've had the spotlight your whole life. You're the overachiever. The golden one. Every time I try anything, people compare me to you. Her voice trembled, not from guilt, but frustration. I finally found a chance to shine and I took it. You didn't shine, I hissed. You cheated. She stood abruptly, the chair scraping across the kitchen tiles. I'm not giving it back. Of course she wasn't. Ava never admitted fault unless it benefited her. She walked out of the kitchen, leaving me in a silence, so heavy it felt physical. My mother emerged from the hallway, wiping her hands on a towel. Sweetheart, don't destroy your relationship over this, she whispered. I laughed bitterly. My relationship? She destroyed my career. She's your sister. Exactly, I said. My sister should never be capable of something this cruel. Mom sighed. She feels overshadowed. She feels like she can't catch up. She didn't try to catch up. She tried to cut me out. And she had succeeded. When I got to the office, everything was different. People whispered. A few avoided eye contact. Some gave awkward smiles, the kind people give when they know something you don't. Something embarrassing. Then my manager, Mr. Harlow, approached. Can we talk? He asked. We stepped into a small conference room. The blinds were half open, letting pale morning light spill across the table. I'm sure you've seen the announcement, he said. I nodded stiffly. I want you to know, this wasn't personal. So, it was intentional, I said. You chose her. It wasn't my decision alone, he said quickly. The board believed she presented a stronger external profile. Using my work. He froze. I watched the realization sweep through his face like a slow, dreadful wave. I wasn't aware of that, he said. Are you saying she misrepresented your contributions? Completely. He rubbed his forehead. This is a serious accusation. It's the truth. He leaned forward. If you want to file a formal complaint, it will trigger an investigation. But I must warn you, it could get very messy. Messy. That word hung between us. My sister had destroyed my career, and now I was expected to worry about messy. I straightened. Start the process. If Ava wanted war, she was getting it. The investigation began faster than I expected. HR called me into a closed-door meeting the next morning. The air in the room felt stiff, as if it knew something ugly was about to unravel. Ms. Carter, the head of HR, sat across from me with a folder marked confidential. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, she said. Please answer honestly. Any dishonesty will complicate the review. I have nothing to hide, I replied. She opened the folder. Your sister submitted several strategic documents during her interview. 4 operational improvement plans, 2 performance audit breakdowns, and a vendor restructuring proposal. I nodded once. All mine. You're certain? They're from my private drive. I never shared them publicly. Ms. Carter adjusted her glasses. Did you ever give your sister access? I helped her set up her company login months ago, I said. But that doesn't include my private folders. They're password protected. Did she know your password? No. Then I paused. A memory flashed. Weeks ago, Ava sitting on my couch, accidentally glancing at my laptop screen while I typed. Me stepping away, trusting she wouldn't touch anything. Ava always used her innocent look like a shield. Actually, I said slowly, there was one moment she might have seen it. Ms. Carter's pen scratched against paper. That's crucial. It implies unauthorized access. It felt surreal, hearing my nightmare reduced to administrative language. Unauthorized access. Intellectual property theft. Policy violation. This wasn't just betrayal. It was corporate fraud. We'll investigate her login activity, Ms. Carter said. If she accessed your documents without consent, the consequences will be severe. Falsifying interviews is grounds for termination. A distant part of me felt relief, but a louder part felt grief. This was my sister, my flesh and blood, and she had done this willingly. When I left HR, whispers followed me again. People glanced at me with curiosity, sympathy, or confusion. I felt like I was walking through a fog of judgment. By the time I reached my desk, I saw Ava standing at the entrance of the department, her expression tight and furious. She stormed toward me. What did you do? She hissed. I told the truth. You told HR lies. They're not lies. You took my documents. I didn't steal anything, she snapped. I only used what I helped you with. You didn't help with anything, I said. You copied my work word for word. Ava's face turned red. You're going to ruin my career. You ruined mine first. She took a step closer. Do you know what Mom said? She said you always make me feel small, that you should have let this go. I held her stare. You want something? Earn it. Don't take it from me. Her voice cracked. I needed this job. And I needed my sister not to betray me. Before she could respond, Mr. Harlow approached. Ava, HR needs to see you. Now. Ava stiffened. Why? It's about the investigation. Her eyes widened. For the first time, panic flickered across her face. She turned toward me, accusation mixing with fear. You did this, she whispered. No, I said quietly. You did. HR escorted her away. As she disappeared down the hallway, a cold realization washed over me. This wasn't the end. This was the beginning of the fallout. Ava didn't come home that night. Mom called me 3 times, her voice trembling every time, asking what had happened at the office. I didn't tell her everything, only that HR had opened an investigation and Ava was involved. Mom cried quietly, torn between 2 daughters on opposite sides of a battlefield neither of us asked for, but one Ava created. By morning, the office felt colder. People walked more carefully, spoke more softly, as if the walls themselves had absorbed the tension. I arrived early, hoping to avoid the stares, but the moment I sat down, my email pinged. Preliminary findings meeting. Required attendance. They were ready. At 10 a.m., I stepped into the conference room. Ms. Carter was there, along with 2 compliance officers and Mr. Harlow. Ava sat at the far end of the table. Her eyes were red, her hands trembling slightly, though she tried to hide it. She didn't look like a confident new manager now. She looked like someone standing on the edge of a cliff. Thank you all for being here, Ms. Carter began. We've reviewed keylog reports, document access history, and interview submissions. Ava stared straight ahead. Ms. Carter continued. Ava, our system shows that you logged into your sister's private drive at 2:13 a.m. 3 weeks ago. You downloaded 6 documents that were never shared with you. These documents match the files you presented during your interviews. Ava swallowed hard. I didn't mean to steal them. You accessed them knowingly, Ms. Carter said. And you submitted them as your work. Ava's breathing turned shaky. I just wanted a chance. I didn't think it was a big deal at first. And then things snowballed. I couldn't admit it later. You misrepresented your qualifications during a formal hiring process, one of the compliance officers said. That is grounds for termination. I closed my eyes for a moment. Hearing the words out loud felt like being punched in the chest. I didn't want this, not really. I wanted justice, not destruction. But Ava had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Mr. Harlow spoke next. Ava, we gave you the position based on your portfolio. Had we known it wasn't yours, the decision would have been different. Ava finally looked at me. Her eyes were desperate. Please, don't let them fire me. Please say something. You're my sister. The room went silent. Everyone waited for my response. She wanted me to save her, right after she had sabotaged my promotion, stolen my work, and lied to my entire company. But still, my heart hurt. I didn't want it to come to this, I said quietly. But you made choices. I'm not the one who hurt your career, you did. Ava's face crumpled. Ms. Carter cleared her throat. We will finalize our decision by the end of the day. For now, Ava, you are placed on administrative leave effective immediately. Kindly surrender your badge. Ava's shaking hands unclipped the ID from her collar. She placed it on the table like it weighed 50 pounds. Her voice cracked. I'm sorry. But I couldn't tell if she was sorry for the betrayal or sorry she got caught. As she was escorted out, she turned once more, eyes full of accusation and grief. You've ruined me, she whispered, but the truth hung heavier between us. She ruined us both. The hours after Ava was escorted out passed like a slow-moving storm, quiet, heavy, and suffocating. My inbox filled with updates from HR, meeting summaries, and policy documents outlining what would happen next. But none of it eased the ache in my chest. By noon, Mom was calling again. This time, I answered. What happened? She asked, her voice strained. Ava came home in tears. She said you let them suspend her. I inhaled sharply. Mom, they suspended her because she accessed my files and lied in her interview. I didn't do that to her. She did it to herself. You sisters shouldn't be tearing each other apart over a job, she said. A job? Mom, this is my career. My life's work. Mom sighed heavily. You could have let it go. You could have protected her. The familiar guilt pushed at my ribs, but this time, I didn't bend under it. I'm done paying for her mistakes, I said. I won't be the one who carries her consequences anymore. Mom went quiet. Not agreeing. Not understanding. Just disappointed. When the call ended, I stared at my screen, the cursor blinking like a heartbeat. The office around me buzzed quietly. Phones ringing, printers humming, keyboards tapping, but I felt isolated, as though everyone else lived in a different world. At 3 p.m., HR summoned me again. Ms. Carter didn't waste time. The board has concluded the investigation. The evidence is substantial. Ava has been terminated effective immediately. Even though I had expected the words, they still hit me like cold water. She'll be escorted in tomorrow morning to clean out her desk, Ms. Carter said. Your complaint was justified, and we appreciate your professionalism. Professionalism. The word felt hollow. On another note, she continued, the board recognizes the significant breach of trust and the mishandling of internal communication. They want to reconsider the senior operations manager position. My heartbeat quickened. Reconsider how? They've agreed to reinstate you as the candidate. You'll begin transition discussions tomorrow. My hands tightened around my notebook. This was the moment I had worked for, fought for. But instead of triumph, all I felt was exhaustion. Thank you, I said quietly. When I left the room, whispers rippled across the department again. This time, the looks were different, sympathetic, supportive, curious. Someone even murmured, "Good for her," as I walked past. But none of it made me feel better. I drove home early, needing air that didn't taste like corporate tension. Mom's car wasn't in the driveway when I arrived, which was a blessing. I wasn't ready to face her disapproval again. Inside the house, everything was quiet until a soft knock hit my door. I opened it. Ava stood there, eyes swollen, face blotchy, hair messy, still wearing the outfit she'd worn to work before everything collapsed. I need to talk, she said. Her voice was so small it barely sounded like hers. I don't think that's a good idea. Please. She swallowed hard. I don't have anyone else to talk to. Reluctantly, I stepped aside. She entered slowly, hands shaking, posture fragile. I know they fired me, she whispered. They called after I got home. I nodded. Ava sank onto the couch, hiding her face in her palms. My life is over. It's not over, I said. But you have to take responsibility. Her head snapped up. I said I'm sorry. For being caught, I replied. No, Ava said. For everything. For the first time since the nightmare began, her voice carried something real. Fear, regret, humility. But was it enough? I didn't know yet. This conversation would decide everything, whether we remained sisters or strangers with shared blood. Ava's apology hung in the air like a fragile thread, easily breakable with one wrong word. She sat curled into herself on the couch, shoulders shaking, eyes red and hollow. She didn't look like the sister who had strutted into the company with my stolen portfolio. She looked like a child who had finally run out of excuses. I know you hate me, she whispered. I don't hate you, I said. But I don't trust you. Ava let out a broken laugh. That's worse. Silence settled again. Heavy. Suffocating. She wiped her nose with the sleeve of her sweater. Mom's furious with you. I figured. She said you should have protected me. That family comes first. A familiar ache hit me, but I pushed back against it. Family comes first when family doesn't stab you in the back. Ava winced. I know. Do you? I asked. Do you really understand what you did to me? Her chin quivered. I do now. No, Ava. You understand the consequences. But do you understand the betrayal? Ava swallowed hard. Then explain it. I'll listen. For the first time, she wasn't defensive. She wasn't blaming me. She wasn't deflecting. She was just waiting, wide open, exposed, maybe ready to hear the truth. You didn't just take a promotion, I began. You made the company doubt me.
You made people whisper about me.
And worst of all, you used the trust one gave you, helping you with your resume, showing you how the company works, letting you use my computer, and you weaponized it. Tears streamed down her face. I didn't think about it like that. You didn't think at all. She nodded slowly. I thought if I could just get the job, everything would finally make sense. I'd finally be someone. You already were someone, I said. But you tried to become someone else by stealing my work. Ava buried her face in her hands. I wish I could take it back. But you can't, I said. What you can do is own it. I will, she whispered. I'll take whatever consequences come. I won't fight the termination. I won't blame you. I won't ask you to fix it. She lifted her head, eyes swollen but steady. But can you forgive me? Not today.
Not now.
But someday? I stared at her, really stared. Memories flickered. Us as kids sharing a room, Ava sneaking into my bed during thunderstorms, the countless times I protected her from bullies, the birthday surprises we planned for each other. And then the cold replay of her stealing my promotion. I exhaled. Forgiveness isn't a switch. It's a process. So, that's not a no? It means you have to earn it. Ava nodded slowly. I will, even if it takes years. She stood, wiping her face. Thank you for letting me talk. I didn't deserve even that. She walked toward the door, pausing with her hand on the knob. One more thing, she said without turning around. Even though I messed everything up, I'm proud of you, and I always have been. I just didn't know how to deal with it. Then she left. The door clicked shut, leaving me alone with a storm of emotions, relief, sadness, anger, compassion. I knew this wasn't the end of our story. Not the healing. Not the consequences. But it was the first real moment of honesty between us. And tomorrow, I would walk into the office again, stronger, wiser, and finally stepping into the promotion that had always been mine. The next morning, I arrived at the office with a level of calm I hadn't felt in weeks. A quiet, steady kind of strength. Not the desperate determination of someone fighting for survival, but the grounded confidence of someone reclaiming what was always theirs. My name badge buzzed at the security gate. My steps echoed down the hallway. And when I reached the senior operations manager's office, the office that had briefly, falsely, belonged to my sister, I paused. The plaque had already been replaced. Senior operations manager, Emily Langford. Seeing my name, there stirred something deep inside me. Not triumph. Not vindication. Just a sense of alignment, finally restored. Inside, the office smelled faintly of fresh paint and furniture polish. A clean slate. Sunlight streamed across the desk, illuminating the stack of transition materials HR had left for me. I sat down slowly, letting the moment settle into me. For years, I had worked toward this. Now it was real. But peace didn't last long. At 10:30 a.m., my phone buzzed.
Mom.
I considered ignoring it, but the guilt tugged. I answered. She told me everything, Mom said immediately. Her voice was softer today, less accusatory, more tired. Ava said she stole from you, that you told the truth, that she deserved what happened. I closed my eyes. She did. I know, Mom admitted. But hearing it from her, it hurt. It made me realize how blind I've been. Mom exhaled shakily. I've always worried Ava would fall behind. I didn't notice how much pressure I was putting on you to carry her. And I see now that wasn't fair. It wasn't, I said gently. You're her sister, not her safety net. There was a pause. And I'm sorry I made you feel like you had to choose between your success and her feelings. It was the closest thing to an apology I'd ever heard from her. We'll get through this, I said. But we all need boundaries from now on. I agree, Mom whispered. After she hung up, I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. An hour later, while While I was deep into reviewing quarterly metrics, a soft knock sounded on my door. It was Mr. Harlow. He stepped in, hands clasped behind his back. I know the past week has been difficult, but I want you to know the board unanimously supports you. And moving forward, the department is ready to follow your leadership. I nodded. Thank you. I'm committed to proving I deserve this role. You already have, he said. When he left, I felt something shift again, not in my position but in how people saw me. Not as the victim of a betrayal. Not as the sister who got caught in a messy scandal. But as the leader I had worked to become. Later that evening, as I was shutting down my computer, I received a text.
Ava.
I'm starting therapy next week. I know I need help. Thank you for being honest with me. I stared at the message for a long time. And finally I replied, I hope you find your path. We'll figure it out slowly. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. But it was a beginning. As I stepped out of my office, the office I earned, I felt a quiet certainty settle inside me. Betrayal had shaken me. Truth had steadied me. And growth, mine and hers, would finish the story. Not with revenge. Not with destruction.